Now at 6, a 2 Works For You exclusive. Dangerous delays. Calls to 911 going unanswered when seconds count. The alarming discovery we uncovered and what the city says is behind the potential deadly problem. New tonight, a construction project on a major roadway is causing a nightmare for drivers. How the construction is putting lives at risk. And a house of God ripped off.
As the shepherd of the church, I can make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Tonight, we're digging deeper to find out who's behind the crime that has left a church in shambles. The news at 6 on 2 Works For You starts right now.
People think that it's not really that big a deal until it happens to them and they're in that situation with a loved one, and then it becomes extremely scary.
Your family's safety at risk as 911 operators struggle to keep up with the massive number of calls. But even if help is on the way, new recruits won't even get a chance to touch a phone for a whole year.
Good evening to you. All new at 6. It's a nightmare. An emergency happens at your home and you have to call 911. But one Tulsa woman says when she called 911 twice last week, she was disappointed in the result.
Well, we recovered these documents here of a conversation between that woman and the 911 director about those long wait times and what can be done to better respond when citizens call.
2 Works For You reporter Ashley Holt is live in Midtown with the woman's story. Ashley.
Karen and Brian, Amanda Denner tells me that she was driving down the street with her husband last week when they spotted a drunk driver swerving in and out of the lanes. So they stopped their car at a red light, and that drunk driver then rear-ended them. So Denner says that she called 911, but it was the amount of time it took police to get to the scene that made her extremely uneasy.
People think that it's not really that big a deal until it happens to them and they're in that situation with a loved one, and then it becomes extremely scary.
Amanda Denner says she had to call 911 twice last week. The first accident landed her son in an ambulance in her car with thousands of dollars in damage. And after calling police, she had to wait.
If this is their response time, what is it when it's something extremely critical?
She called police the next day for another incident. This time, she says no one picked up the phone.
I was on that call, I would say, for approximately close to 3 minutes.
She says she had to handle the second incident herself, then let the city know how unsafe she felt. The response? The average wait time for a dispatcher at the time of her second call was 3 minutes.
3 minutes to answer a call is definitely a critical time between life and death for someone.
Then the 911 center's director responded. A 3-minute wait time is not what we want for Tulsa, she said. So how do we speed up our answer times? The director says people need to know when it's appropriate to call 911. And Tulsa police need to hire more people faster, citing dispatch's current 19 openings.
If officers are dispatched or that you're needed for something very serious, then an officer's not going to say, well, I'm going to go to this report call first.
Those with lower priority numbers may get pushed to the bottom for a period of time, but they're also down about 100 officers to answer those calls.
I just don't think that they have the availability to fix it right now.
The police department says it needs higher numbers in its recruitment classes and more money to afford those classes for starters.
Is tonight going to be my lucky night, or am I going to be put on hold?
The call center says it gets about 1,600 calls a day. So to do your part, if it's not an emergency but you need the department, you can call 918-596-922 instead of 911 to alleviate some of that backup. Reporting live out of Midtown, Ashley Holt, 2 Works For You.
Thank you, Ashley. News since 5 in that tragic story that we first brought you yesterday. Many people in Morris are grieving the loss of an entire family that died in a murder-suicide yesterday. 2 Works For You reporter Darcy Jackson is live there now with reaction from the community on this horrific crime. Darcy?
Well, Karen, today is a very somber day for this town. We spoke to several people who knew this family well and say they can't imagine a day in life without them. Now, the Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office has not released any names of any victims or details of an investigation. Sheriff Eddie Rice told me today he's not taking any phone calls in regards to these deaths. Meanwhile, many residents say they're grieving right along with the family. We learned one of the victims attended Morris Elementary. Today, Superintendent James Lyons was able to tell us how difficult this is for many students and teachers, and they're now providing counseling for on campus.
But when you're sitting there and the student that was sitting there the day before is no longer there in that classroom. You know, how do you explain that? And that's something that we had to work through with our students.
Now, Lyons says those services are available to anyone in the community. He says many parents have sat in class with their kids today. I also spoke with a member of the family. They said that the one thing they want more than anything right now is their privacy, and they did not want to speak with us, saying this whole situation is unspeakable. In Morris, Darcy Jackson, 2 Works for You.
New at 6, hundreds of anti-abortion activists descended on the state capitol today to rally against a surprise move by lawmakers. The Public Health Committee failed to pass an anti-abortion bill. Legislators voted 4-4 on the bill to stop abortions based on the diagnosis of fetal abnormality. 3 Republicans joined a Democrat to stop the bill.
Jury selection stopped in its tracks. A former Tulsa police officer's second murder trial is halted as evidence is brought forward for review. Kepler's attorney says the evidence, which belonged to the deceased, Jeremy Lake, may contain drugs. This will be addressed tomorrow, and jury selection is expected to continue. You'll remember Shannon Kepler is charged with killing his daughter's boyfriend.
A Broken Arrow Church's members believe an employee pocketed church money for her own well-being. Court records show Candy Tompkins is now charged with 5 counts of embezzling from the Arrow Heights Baptist Church. 2 Works for You reporter Corley Peel is live outside of the church to show us how losing nearly $250,000 is impacting the congregation.
Brian, the pastor tells me Tompkins reorganized financial books and misused credit cards. He says that money she allegedly stole was raised by good members of the church.
As hard as this seems, you know, we have deliberately prayed for her and for her family.
Senior pastor Andy Taylor says it's like a scab being pulled off a wound, knowing a former employee embezzled money from the church.
The thing that we're most saddened by is that the offerings of the great people here at Arrow Heights Baptist Church had been misused.
Taylor says in April, an outside accounting firm discovered Tompkins pocketed roughly $245,000 for her own personal use. Money, he says, would have gone towards church operations and activities.
A great deal of our money that we use here goes towards those kind of outreach ministries.
Records also showed Tompkins was charged in January for embezzling more than $6,000 from A-Best Roofing, the company Taylor says Tompkins worked for after leaving Arrow Heights. Taylor says although losing money has been tough, the church is moving forward.
As the shepherd of the church, I can make sure that this doesn't happen again and that our people are protected. And most importantly, that what they give to the Lord and to this church that we are stewards of is effectively used to do ministry in the community of Broken Arrow.
Online records show Tompkins has not been arrested. Reporting live in Broken Arrow, Corley Peel, 2 Works for You.
Now, your Storm Shield weather first forecast.
Hi, everyone. A lot colder tonight than it was at this time last night. 28 degrees colder, in fact, in Tulsa. Bartlesville right now sitting at 40 degrees. Tulsa's at 37 at McLean Magnet High School from our WeatherBug network of weather stations. 37 in Muskogee. Beautiful sunset here across the area occurring with just a lot of high cirrus clouds filtering in at this time. So pretty decent late afternoon. Coming up in the forecast, we're going to talk about how you need to bundle up the bus stop tomorrow, increasing grass fire danger, and some record-setting highs possible on Saturday.
A major construction project is causing long delays for drivers. We'll show you where and when it might be wrapped up.
Plus, Tulsa's mayor's in the spotlight nationally, raising awareness for equality. We'll share his dream for the next 10 years.